Stalling is frustrating, I get it. Whether it's at traffic lights, in traffic, on hills, or just all the bloody time, I'm gonna help you get over it. Firstly, I think it's really important to say that stalling is okay and it's perfectly normal. As a learner, when you're beginning your driving journey, you're going to stall a lot, and it's fine. Think about this. Before you drive, what do you use your feet for? Big, clunky, heavy movements, like walking, running, kicking balls, kicking people when they annoy you. You don't use your feet in the same way that you do your hands. Your hands are used for fine movements like writing, playing the piano, any other instruments. But your feet aren't used to being used for fine movements, which is exactly how you need to use them to drive a car. When you use a clutch, it's fingertip precision, which your feet aren't used to doing. You have to build up the motor skills to be able to use your feet in that way. And it takes some time, and that's okay. So when you first start learning to drive, you are going to stall a lot. That's okay. Your driving instructor will be expecting that, and it's best if you're expecting it too. But if you find this a consistent problem, then you're gonna need some help to fix it. I will say though that stalling is probably one of the most common mistakes to make on a driving test. As long as you're in the calm headspace and have the skills to recover from it quickly, it's not gonna be anything more than a driver fault. And remember, you've got 15 driver faults to play with. So if you stall a couple of times, 14, 13 more to go, you're not gonna fail for stalling. Here's the first challenge. I'm on a hill and I'm at a traffic light, double pressure. There isn't a car behind me, which would make it more pressure. But if I'm on my driving test or I'm learning to drive, I've got the biting point. I'm gonna sit at the biting point and test it maybe a couple of times there. I've taken my foot off the brake, foot back on the brake, because I should be on the brake when I'm at a traffic light. But I can just test it a couple of times. If I roll forward, I can adjust it. If I roll backwards, I can adjust my biting point. This takes the pressure out of you setting off when the light turns green. When the light turns green, it's like, go, 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 which isn't very helpful. You're gonna rush, you're gonna make mistakes. Rushing is the #1 reason that you're probably going to stall on driving lessons or your driving test, because you're doing the procedure too fast and your muscle memory isn't there yet, which is okay because you can just slow it down. So I've tested it there. There's my biting point, perfect. I'm happy with it. Now I've got the reassurance that when my lights turn green, I can check my mirrors, press the gas and come gently off the clutch. Let's pull over in that parking space on the left. If you find that you stall a lot regularly, find a road like this, it's really quiet. We're not gonna have any trouble from loads of traffic, and I would recommend you, if you're learning with friends or family especially, but if you're learning with a driving instructor, they should be helping you with this too. And they should get you to do this exercise. If they don't, ask, can I pull over and just try my biting point a couple of times? Right, so I'm on a mild hill, and if I don't have my biting point, my clutch is all the way down, I'm gonna roll back. Gently, slowly, but I'm rolling back. So I need to find the biting point before I set off. And every car's gonna be different. So if you get in another car and you find that you're stalling a lot there, it's probably because you're expecting the biting point to be in the same place as your old car, which it won't be, guarantee. Even one car, one Ford Fiesta to another Ford Fiesta, will have the biting point in a different place. Okay, I've got it, clutch down. There, biting point, got it. What I'm looking for to tell that I've got the biting point is, listen, the engine noise changes. I can feel it through my seat as well. It's like a low grumble hum. Here's a problem that people sometimes make. If I keep lifting the clutch up, now the grumble hum turns into a growl. It feels angry, it feels like the car's stressed. That's when I've come too far. I'm now extremely close to stalling. I need to dip the clutch to get back to that low hum there. So I found myself a nice quiet spot. I've practiced finding the biting point a few times, and the clutch isn't too high where the car's stressed, and it's not too low where I'm gonna roll back when I come off the brake. If you roll forwards, that's okay, because that's the direction you want the car to go in anyway. So a little bit of forward movement, not a problem. What's next? It's time to up the pressure. So I can take my time to find the biting point. Nothing has to be rushed when you're learning to drive. or even on your driving test. It took me a couple of seconds to find the biting point, so I'm going to recheck my blind spot. Gas, clutch up gently. The more you do this and the more you practice, the quicker you'll be able to do it naturally, but don't try and speed it up before you're ready. If you're stalling your car because you've just passed your driving test, your instructor's car didn't stall very much at all, but now your car does, it's very likely that you've gone from a diesel car, your instructor's car, to a petrol car, now your car. So the key thing to remember is diesels can set off without any gas. You can just lift the clutch gently and the car will move. But when you're in a petrol car, the car needs to have some acceleration before you move off, especially on a hill. So this is crucial. I found my biting point. My car's petrol. I need to press the accelerator, hear the engine hum before I lift the clutch. Otherwise, you're gonna conk out and stall. I can hear someone right now in the comments saying why. Okay, very quick explanation. Diesels have higher torque, higher pulling power, low down in the rev range. What's torque? Torque is muscle power, the muscle power of the car. The car has great strength, low down in the rev range, so it can pull your car no problem, even when you haven't pressed any accelerator. But in a petrol car, this one, like mine, the car has very low muscle power torque, low down in the rev range, and the torque gradually increases as you come up the rev range. So when you try and set off in your petrol car and you haven't pressed the gas first, you are very likely to stall it because your car is very low in torque or muscle power. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if it did. So I'm on a big fat hill in my petrol car. I know that I can't set off on this hill without first pressing the gas. There it is, found my biting point. I'm gonna go back on the brake, test it again. Now I'm confident. I'm confident that I found the biting point, so when the lights turn green, I'm not gonna be stressed. Okay, so I can just sit here, no stress. What's my next plan? Check the mirrors, hit the gas. The most common reason why people stall that I've seen on mock tests is that you're lifting the clutch at the same time as pressing the gas. When you press the gas pedal, the car takes maybe half a second to spool up for the engine to start going vroom. So make sure that you've pressed the gas before you go and lift the clutch. So gas on, there's the noise, and then clutch up. Yes, let's go. This is so common. I see this more than 50% of the time with learners on mock tests. And what they're doing is they've got the clutch down, holding the car on the foot brake, and then they press the gas and then jump off the clutch. Oh, that didn't work because there's too much wheel spin on the leaves. So I'm in first gear, I've got my clutch down, brake on. My brake's holding me on the hill. I'm not at the biting point. So I'm gonna press the gas and then quickly jump off the clutch to make the car move. In doing that, you're either gonna have to rely on your car having hill hold to stop you rolling back, or be quick enough off the clutch so that you don't roll back more than is acceptable for whatever's behind you. It's just a dangerous game to play. It's almost always gonna result in you rolling back a little bit, and most of the time result in you stalling because you're using the clutch too fast. We should never have to set off really fast. Take your time. Here's the correction. Just add this step, find the biting point, and then we can take our time. Look at that, I'm not moving. If I can find the biting point perfectly, I've driven this car for a long time. You'll get there if it's your car. That just shows you how long you can take to come off the brake, press the accelerator, look over your shoulder, slap on the indicator, and then move off from the side of the road. Smooth, it's so much smoother. Obviously I slowed that sequence down just to highlight, for dramatic effect, to highlight how slowly you can set off if you just add that one step, which is finding the biting point. Don't catch the clutch, don't rush it. Just find the biting point first. Right, okay, I've done a few videos on TikTok recently about hill starts, and there's always someone in the comments who says, my instructor tells me to use the handbrake. That's okay. Both of the methods work, whether you use the handbrake or you just do it how I've shown you. Both of those methods are completely fine. But if your instructor insists on you using the handbrake, then just go with it. It's not better, it's not worse. It takes a little bit longer to set off using the handbrake. It's one more step that's a little bit faffy that might encourage you to stall because you're just doing one more thing with your hands and you're slightly off balance. So I prefer to teach people the brake and clutch method. But if your instructor teaches you another method, that's perfectly okay. This hill is severe. I'm in first gear, I've got the handbrake on, so I don't need to use the foot brake. I'm gonna lift the clutch up anyway to the biting point. Same thing, I can feel it in my seat, I can hear it in the engine noise. That means that I've got 1 foot free to press the accelerator. Let's do that. Normal amount that you would use to set off normally. Signal, handbrake off, clutch up gently. Both methods perfectly acceptable, perfectly okay. If you can't get to grips with one, try the other, and that might work better for you. Okay, so you've got hill starts down, but you just find yourself stalling in traffic. How do you get over that? Let's find a stop and I'll show you. Okay, we're stopping in traffic. It's useful to note that unless I'm on a hill, my car's not gonna roll back anyway. So I can fully come off the brake without rolling back in traffic, which means that I can press the gas and then lift the clutch, which is a lot less stressful and a lot less time consuming and a lot less chance of stalling. Let's do that again. We've stopped, gas on, clutch up, smoothly through the biting point. Now I'm in traffic, there's a van real close behind me, but I'm not at the biting point, I'm on a flat piece of road. Before I set off, gas on, hear that engine noise, clutch up smoothly through the biting point, and we set off nice every time. There's one more thing that I want to show you though, and it's a big reason why people stall, because they're just not using the accelerator either at all or enough, because they're worried about setting off too fast. Let me show you this. How fast you set off isn't mainly down to the accelerator. I'm on a hill, big hill. It's down to how you use the clutch. Okay, I'm on the biting point and I'm gonna use way too much gas, but I'm gonna control it through my left foot. Think of it like this. The accelerator is like flood and your left foot is the floodgates. You can have as much flood as you want, but as long as you're controlling it with your left foot, you're not letting too much flood out at once. So the next time that you're worried about using too much accelerator, remember that you're controlling how much acceleration actually goes through to the wheels with your left foot. So if your clutch work is smooth and steady, you can't set off like Lewis Hamilton. Did you hear how much accelerator I was using just then? It's revving to 3,000, 4,000, and I'm still setting off smoothly. It sounds absolutely horrible. It sounds so bad. But as an example of the fact that you won't set off too fast if you use too much accelerator, I think I've made my point. Okay, let's pull over on the left. Do me a favor, if you find this content helpful, wow, that's really sunny, then hit the subscribe button. That helps me to help you to make much more learning to drive content, to help you learn to drive in the safest, fastest, and most fun way. YouTube also thinks that you'll love this video. Click that next. And if you've got any questions about clutch, stalling, petrol, diesel, let me know in the comments. I'm always there commenting back with you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.